Hello and welcome back. My name is Bukhari, and today in this video we will be learning the nesting technique using Flexbox. So let's get started. So this is my code editor. First I'm going to inject HTML skeleton. I'm gonna quickly clean up a little bit, make the font bigger. Let's bring the preview window in here. Let's give the page a title: Flexbox nesting techniques 2016. Okay, all right, so first, right away we will jump into the body of the page document. So in here we're gonna add a section with a class name called container, and within the container section, container tag, we're gonna add a main tag, and we're also going to give it a class, calling it main. And just after that we're going to also add a side tag with a class name called aside. Okay, so let's write some text in there. Okay, so we have two levels of relation in here, as you can see, right? So the main tag is the container, which is the parent of these two, right? So these two are the children of the container tag, right? Okay, moving on. So in that way we will be able to implement the power of Flexbox. so now let's work with the container selector. So because we're going to implement the Flexbox, we're going to put the Flexbox in action, so display flex, that's the first thing we do. Okay, and then background color, I have a particular color selected in my head, so just bear with me. 55% hue, saturation 55%, and that's it. Okay, I'm simply going to copy this, and also I'm going to add a padding for it, for the container itself, and then we will be working with the main and aside selector tags, right? So main and aside, they both will have same property and value, so that's why I'm putting it there. So flex, I'm putting 2 because I want to override the aside ones in the later. Okay, just bear with me. So flex, let's put 1. Let's make not anything confusing. Okay, so let's make it simple. So flex 1 because these are the two child element of the container. So container has the flex display flex property and value, so the children must possess this flex whatever. Okay, all right, so that's the power, otherwise you won't be able to do anything, right? Okay, moving on. So Flexbox 1 means flex grow 1, shrink 1, flex basis 100%. So after that I'm gonna add a padding as well here and margin 0.6 em so that we can see the separation. Also I will need to add a background color, otherwise we won't be able to see what's going on. So there it is. So without the margin, no space, without the padding, less space. So you get the idea, right? Okay, moving on. Okay, so now what I want to grow the main section this far. It means that I want to make it bigger, wider than the aside section, right? So how I'm going to do it? So in here, as you can see, I'm going to put flex 2. Okay, grow by 2, and as you can see we already have aside in here as well. So I'm going to override aside again, by like this, aside flex 1, and there we go. So now this main section is twice the aside section. The aside section is exactly the two section of the main section, right? So this is the third part. If you divide these two columns in three sections, these contains two sections, and this is another section, one section, 3 by 2, 3 by 1. Okay, that's that. Okay, so if we put like 3, it will take more space, like 3 times in here. Okay, things like that. Anyways, moving on. So what we want is that to have the nesting ability, right? So where are we going to be nesting? So in this case, in this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to nest. We'll be nesting items in the aside section. Okay, so the aside must contain display flex property and value, because we want to have children element in the aside tag, in the aside section, right? Okay, moving on. So for that, we need to add some tags in the aside sections. So in the aside, we're going to add, I can add sections, div, or article, whatever it is. It doesn't matter that much for this tutorial. So I'm going to write nested, or you can write anything you want. Okay, I'm going to write some lorem ipsum text in there. Let's put as minimum as possible. Okay, all right. Okay, we did, right? So, and I'm going to copy this and paste it 3 more times to make it even. So 4 times, right? There we go. So let's style the nested selector. Okay, so that we can see the visual implementation right away. So because the aside is the parent of the nested selector, and aside has the display flex property, so we can add flex property in there and value depending on our need. So 1 is okay, right? For this purpose, as this far, flex 1 is okay for now. Okay, so as you can see, it's little space, too much content in there, that's why it's being fixed, right? If we could like put nested 1 4 3 2. Okay, so in the real world projects, you will be having real content, right? So there we go. Anyways, let's add a color in here. Let's grab this color so that we can see the visual implementation in there. Okay, so what we want is that, so let's look at the HTML structure, right? So we have this section with a class name called container. So the container section has 2 main columns, main tags, main and aside, and in the aside we have 4 more tags. These are the children of the aside, right? So they are nested element in the aside. Okay, so there it is. Now I want to make them separate from each other, so therefore we need to add a margin in there, 0.6 em. Alright, looking even good. Alright, so we're taking it further. So by default it is now sitting there as a row, right? In same line, sitting next to each other. It is having the row effect in there. Flex direction is row by default, so it is acting that way, right? Now we need to specify the aside section because we want to override the positioning, right? So flex flow, row and wrap. Okay, row and wrap. Okay, so what's just happened? Don't worry because we're not done yet. Okay, everything will be just fine. Just bear with me and have faith. Okay, right? So okay, so we just put this flex flow property and value row wrap in the aside section, and so what we want is that we want to take control over them, right? So how we are going to do that? So nested selectors are within the just under the aside, right, selector. So let's write aside and then nested, and we particularly specifically want to have control over the first one and second one. Okay, so nested, how are we going to target it? We're going to target it by nth child. Nth child. So nested under the aside, nth child. So we are targeting the first one, right? So 1, and then copy this, comma, then enter, and the second one. Okay, and then we'll have some property and value. Okay, so first give a background color so that we can see the implementation right away. So yes, it is working precisely, right? And what we want is that we want our first two columns to expand to its fullest width. Okay, that means 100%, and 3 and 4 columns stays in a row, and they act like, I mean, the next two columns, 3 and 4 columns, will be staying in the bottom of these two, right, in a column fashion. Okay, so let's give the flex property and value. So the first one and the second nested element will have 100%. Okay, so there it is. The first nested one, and the second nested one is expanded to its fullest width because we put flex 100%. Okay, now you see the third and the fourth one is acting like column based, right? And first two is acting column based, but first and the third and fourth is acting like a row based, sitting next to each other, and these two are sitting on top of each other. Okay, so basically by default it was flex flow row, which is these ones, right? If we didn't put this flex thing, flex 100, it is row, right? Okay, and when we specifically specify flex 100 to these twos, right, 1 and 2, then it has the effect on it right away. And you are not only bind limited there. Okay, you can just change the for example, if you want to have these style in here, you can do that. Okay, so 3 and 4, there you go. How cool is that? You can have many columns in there, right? Let's add 3 more. Okay, 3 more. Okay, right. So I want to have like 3, that means we have 7, right? You can go crazy with this, mix and match, and you can see the possibility, right? So there we go. Okay, so that's nice, really nice. I like it. So you can see that this box is going outside of the white boxes, right, in the aside section. That's because of the content. Okay, if you put more content, it will go out, right? content has to fit in there, right? So that you can put your content in a way that people can see, right? So before it breaks, we need to take care of it. Okay, so you can handle this situation by adding the media queries. Okay, so our nesting is complete. Okay, so now we will be handling the overflow issue in here. Okay, and there are other ways to do it, but I'm going to go with the media query way. Okay, so when we are in the tablet viewport size, I mean when we are in the iPad or tablet, which is 768 pixels. Okay, and just below that 760 below, when the display is 700 below 768 pixels, I want to have this manipulated, right? Okay, for that I'm going to add a media query. Add media screen and max width. You could add max width or min width, however you want. So 667 pixels. When it is from the minimum to maximum 767 pixel width wide, do this and that. Okay, so when we are at this stage, I want to have these here, right? How I'm going to do it? So I'm going to target the container selector and flex flow to column and wrap. Beautiful. So it is not broken ever, you can see. So you can also manipulate it further. You can do whatever you want with this. As you can see, we have put in this tiny space so many things, 3 columns in there, right? It's really difficult to match in the little tiny area, right? So if you consider being like if you consider to be simple, then put less stuff in there. Okay, so 2 columns is good. Okay, yeah, two columns. Okay, 1 column is better. 3 column is too much. You can add more, right? You can go crazy with this. It's totally up to you. So there we go. Let's check one more time. So we have our main content area and the sidebar in here, and within the sidebar we have our nested columns, right? And that's how you deal with the nesting elements using Flexbox. I hope you like it. So yeah, there you go. You can do so many things with Flexbox. Let's handle this issue, shall we? So it is overflowing, right? So it is overflowing from right here. 850 pixels. Okay, 850 pixels. Okay, so let's keep it there. Let's break it to 1, right? So yes, we can do anything, right? So that's the third one, right? Let's handle it. Let's change this. Now let's put where it was. I want to handle this one. I want to make it wider. Okay, so yeah, let's do it. Let's add another of this, and problem will be solved. So 7, stay there, no problem. There you go. Okay, problem solved. That's the power of Flexbox. How cool is this? I'm really liking it. Are you not? Wow. Yeah. So there you go. Now we have our flawless nesting technique mastered in no time. You can imagine anything. You can put so many cool stuff. You can make so many critical complex grid layout pattern solution using Flexbox. Wow, Flexbox it is. So there you go. I hope this video is highly benefited to you. You are highly benefited from this tutorial and techniques. If you are, please give this video a thumbs up or double thumbs up maybe. Alright, and do write to me what is your experience with this tutorial, and do share the video with the world, please, because you'll never know who you will inspire and help, right? So please do share with the world. I really thank you for your time and presence. I really appreciate it. So take care. I'll catch you in my next video. Take care. Bye.